Hello, everybody, and happy Saturday, and welcome to another edition of Love Your Health. And nothing like missing your cue right off the hop, but it's all good up in here. I'm with a wonderful panel here today as we are going to be talking about mental health and coping with it. Right beside me, it's the one who kickstarted this event right from the get-go. It's Melball Collins. Welcome back, Melball. How happy to see you.
Yay, I'm so excited to be back. Round, is this two, three? Who's counting? It doesn't matter. We're going
That's right.
strong.
And then just right beside her, someone who's been along with us on this journey quite a few times. I think since the second time that we did this, it's Astrid. Astrid, how are you doing?
Okay, how are you?
Wonderful. Can't complain at all. And joining us for the very first time, it's Auntie Collins. Auntie Collins, how are you doing on this Saturday?
Oh, I'm just peachy keen.
That is wonderful. We have got Caitlin Connell joining us, saying hello, everyone. Well, hello to you as well, too. Thank you for hopping in. We appreciate you being here to join us on this journey to talk about mental health, talk about our experiences, and to also hear from you, everybody in the comment section as well, too. Please share your stories. We're happy to discuss this. This is a very open, very safe forum. And because, Auntie Collins, it's your first time here, we want to go over to you first, and we're going to start by asking how you're doing currently, and also just kind of a little bit more about your journey, some of the struggles you've had with mental health. We'd like to open the floor to you.
Oh my goodness, what an honor to be with y'all here. I mean, when I was asked to do this, I kind of said to myself, what do I have to offer? But I feel very grateful to be here with y'all today. How am I doing right now? It's a journey. Learning through, because I was diagnosed with uh, autism spectrum disorder 2 years ago now, which is insane to think the time and energy and money that goes into an actual diagnosis, and then what. So dealing with the burnout, recognize when I'm overstimulated and I need support immediately. How do I ground myself? How do I get myself out of my little depressive episodes? It happens, but that's kind of how I've been dealing now. Is just trying to ground myself. The current state of the political landscape in the United States is a little bit daunting, so to speak. So it is really easy to fall into despair and fall into the great vortex of doubt and the what ifs. But for myself, it's kind of unplugging from the internet, really taking myself out of information, which I don't want that to sound like, oh, I don't want to be informed, so I'm just going to unplug. I do it for my mental health. And I don't know about y'all, but I tend to love to be very informed to the point of learning everything about some sort of item and then being overconsumed by the intense knowledge. So doing my part, doing what's best for me. Now, you mentioned my story. So because I grew up in a religious household, mental health was not something that you talked about. It was something that you prayed away. It was something that didn't exist. And if you did feel it, it was because you had sin in your life, which that's another can of worms to talk about. But it wasn't until my friend in high school unexpectedly took her life. And it was 1 minute she was posting on MySpace, and the next minute we heard that she was gone. And because of that happening, a slew of choices in my life brought me to a very similar decision for myself. And I had to choose, do I want to keep living or do I not? And that's almost 20 years ago. And I tried to live my life every day, honoring Chelsea, honoring the life that she had, knowing that while her mental health was important and not talked about, I want to talk about it. So I've been through my ups and downs. I have a lot of mental health, issues that I do work through therapy, and I do go to therapy. But knowing that the catalyst of my life was because of Chelsea Grace and trying to live in the memory of her. So
thank you very much for sharing that, Auntie. Appreciate that. Astrid, before we go over to you, you will be next. I just want to say hello, good afternoon. Bobby joining us in the chat there, and also Ed joining us as well too, saying hey everyone. And yes, hashtag you are not alone, very much so. Astrid, same questions apply. Over to you.
I mean, I talked about it a little bit more, but for those of you that don't know, I really struggled with a lot of anxiety growing up. It was one of those things very similar to Miss Auntie here, that it was almost like taboo to really talk about it. Like you couldn't have any kind of like mental issues or anything like that. I'm glad that my family's a little bit more open to it now, to the fact that I can tell them how I feel, and we'll find a way to figure it out together. And I think that's one big difference that I have now compared to what I had before, is that the people around me have made a big difference to me, because I feel like now as an adult I have more friends that I can rely on if feel a certain way. I'm happy that I have people that I can reach out to, and whether it's by text or by call, video call, whatever it is, and I'm able to connect with them in such a way that they're able to like ease that anxiety that I have. And I had situations, especially recently, that caused me a lot of anxiety, to the point that I think if you think about it that way, like you see me with my content, like my content kind of dropped a little bit there, and I have a little bit of a gap with everything that I was doing, and it's because mentally I was checked out, unfortunately. But I'm glad now that the two situations that happened are not over, and now I have other people in my life that I know I can count on whenever I feel a certain way, and they made a big difference in those situations. And even now, it's like I have to remind myself, I'm like, that's over. It happened with that one person. It's not going to happen with this person. And that really helps a lot too, like separating how I felt then versus how I feel now. It's a big difference, but I think my family is one big one that, especially now, they understand, like if I especially need moments that I'm like, I just want to be alone and I just want to be in my world, whether I'm doing like wrestling stuff or reading. I'm like, they understand that when I need my space, they're like, let's leave her to like recharge, and then she'll come back out from her room whenever she feels better. So I'm glad that we have a better understanding now, in communication wise, it's more open about it.
No, thank you very much for sharing. And Mel, your turn. Same questions apply.
As I'm untangling myself from my little emotional support animal here, I'm kind of in the same place that everyone else is. Things are a little weird right now. The world's kind of going through a big weird change that everyone's just kind of learning how to navigate. So it's just kind of one day at a time, kind of dealing with everything. With myself, though, something that's always been affiliated and associated with me since I started podcasting is the gym. And that's still a way I use to kind of manage my mental health. There has been some developments, thankfully, in the last year. Like Auntie, I've started going to therapy again, which is tremendously beneficial. I haven't found the therapist styling that I need, but this is as close to I'm like what I need that I'm going to get, which has been helping me tremendously. You can ask any member of the horde. The Melball has had a different attitude lately that's been liked by some, disliked by others, and that's okay. That's really okay as long as everyone's happy in the end. Something else that I've really discovered the joy and love of, that has been something that's pulled me out of any little kind of sad thing that I get into, is listening to really, really, really obnoxiously poppy, happy music that I can understand about as closely as I can understand the mumble rap here, which should tell you about the understanding that I have for the music. It's in another language. It's mostly K-pop. But through this, I kind of actually rediscovered I really like dancing. I really like moving. I really like doing things, as the gym would imply. So I've actually started taking K-pop dance classes every week as another additional mode of therapy through a dance studio here called A for A Dance. It's run by a lovely little girl named Apple. She runs it all week, actually. I just do classes on Sunday with her. She has jazz, she has funk, she has interpretive, she has entry-level ballet, obviously K-pop as well. It's a lot of fun. If you guys like dancing, you like moving, you like doing anything, check out anything locally that you can do, or even try starting up something yourself just to get people out and having fun, enjoying stuff. Something else, obviously, a few of us know the green stuff is still useful if you can't make it work with anything else. If you know, you know. In Canada, it's legal. It's legal in a lot of US states too. I don't know about the rest of the world, but yeah, through the last year in this journey of figuring out my brain, it's been kind of figuring out what makes my brain happy, what makes my brain sad, discarding the stuff that makes my brain sad, and really not caring what anybody else thinks about the things that make my brain happy. Hope that's a little good summary of what it's been like for the last year.
That is great. Thank you for sharing. Hello to Andre joining us as well too this afternoon. Thank you for coming in, Andre. Appreciate it. As for myself, it's currently, usually pretty good. Like, again, I know I've said it before that I got myself out of a work situation to get into the job I'm at now, where I've been a lot happier, which helps in a lot of ways. Not to say I don't still battle things from time to time. I still haven't been speaking to my family for well over a decade now, kind of thing. So those things still trouble at times and everything, but I do find ways to try to cope with it, which, we'll talk about some of those coping mechanisms here this afternoon. But mine goes way back. I can share the whole idea of it not being something that talked about. We didn't grow up in a religious family, but my dad was very strict about the things that weren't allowed in his household, and you weren't allowed to be sad. You weren't allowed to have feelings like this kind of thing. Otherwise, he pushed you away quite a bit kind of thing, or would actually in some ways mentally abuse you kind of thing. Like, very a mentally abusive man. Like, I didn't realize it because it always got passed off as like, oh, that's who he is. It's his character. It's, he grew up in a rough neighborhood, so it's okay kind of thing. It's like, well, no, it's never okay. It never was okay kind of thing. And I didn't really realize that until I pulled myself away from the situation to understand that it was never okay kind of thing. That, and that it still makes it hard because as a guy, we've always had that stigma, don't talk about your feelings and everything like that. And it's tough even now sometimes, even though it's like, you can do it and there's people that are there to support you. Sometimes you feel like you have to fight it yourself, and you don't. I know I don't. It still happens. It is a never ending battle that it's tough to deal with sometimes. But yes, there's always the coping mechanisms. And as Mel was saying about her coping mechanism, I got a couple of them here myself that often help, that never want to leave me alone, especially when they know I have friends on screen as well too, because they love to share the love. Outside of that, for me, it's the drive and motivation to learn more things. And I'll multitask things. I love doing it. I love to discover new ways to grow as a person, while at the same time being able to enjoy some music in the background, or I'll have a movie playing while also trying to read something about how to do better at YouTube and stuff like that. Like, I'm that kind of person where it's like I will have two things going simultaneously to keep my brain occupied at all times. And it's really how I cope. And I just love driving to do better all the time. That's the way I do it. But yes. Background table then for the same thing, coping mechanisms, Auntie Collins.
Well, I have learned in therapy that I have used comedy as a defense mechanism. I feel uncomfortable. I use comedy as a way to make myself and others feel better, I guess, intense situations, or when I'm feeling unprotected and unsafe. And it's important recognizing those kinds of triggers for myself, because I know sometimes I just need to shut up. There's a commercial in the United States where it's adults turning into their parents. And there's a scene where they're at the gas station and they're trying to showcase, okay, this older guy, now that he has insurance, needs to fill the silence, needs to like make some sort of funny joke to interject to feel valuable. And I know for myself, I've used that as a coping mechanism. And I'm not saying that it's wrong or, you know, inappropriate. I mean, sometimes it's cringe behavior, because I'll be in the grocery store and I'm like, I don't need to say these things. Why do I need to feel the need to entertain? But it's the thing of like noticing those triggers in myself, and like noticing for myself, I tend to get like high blood pressure. So using medication, because that is like something in my family, noticing that like, oh, that feeling inside myself, that's anxiety, recognizing my feelings, which is very difficult for me to feel. Okay, I'm feeling rage, I'm feeling anger. Why do I feel the need to make a joke right now? Why do I need to make everything about myself? And I tried to remove myself. And a way that I used to cope with that was alcohol, and was using other substances, which I have not used a non-green substance for almost 10 years now, which is incredible, because I used to use it all the time, put myself in so much debt, could not go to a social function without being high or being drunk or what have you. And now learning kind of those triggers in myself and learning how to ground myself. And it's not always about me. Sometimes I just need to focus on what's going on inside. Why does my body feel this way? Why am I feeling anxious? Why am I feeling angry? And using those coping mechanisms of what they say, like name like 5 things you can see, or breathing, or removing yourself from the situation, or just being quiet. And just practicing being quiet. And with being on the spectrum, being part of, you know, my brain, I guess, it's really difficult to do that without substance. And I think learning that a lot of people who have ADHD, who are autistic and on the spectrum, are often users of substance. They're often the ones that you do see addicted, because they are trying to silence the things that are going on inside your brain. And it's just the first part of like, oh, recognizing it inside myself. Those feelings that what I'm feeling, that's sadness. That's, you know, I don't feel safe, or recognize it inside myself. And the way that I cope with it hasn't always been healthy. But now working through it and being like, it's okay to cry. It was never okay to cry in my household. Oh, I'm going to give you something to cry about. Oh, okay. No thanks. But now recognizing it, it's part of my character now. You know, we have an Auntie Collins cryometer because of how much I feel those emotions. And I have good cries. I have bad cries. I love using comedy as a form of self-soothing, but it's knowing where it is in the right moment, which is really difficult for me. But just using that and being like, that's okay. Giving myself grace. But those are my coping mechanisms. No longer alcohol and drugs, but now just comedy.
Which is a good one to have. And I can completely relate with the drugs and the alcohol use. Not that I don't still have drinks and do the green, but as far as the hard substances, it has been about 10 years now that I've been clean from those, and removing yourself from that is one of the hardest things to do. I was down a bad path. I probably would have completely been broke dead on the street if I would have kept going the direction I was going. And it's a masking tool is what it is. It really is. It shuts the brain off, like you mentioned, and everything. And you think that it's like, okay, well, because then people love being around you then too. That was the other thing. I was like, because there's all these wonderful people that are my friends, and it's like, no, they're not. They're just wanting my drugs, or they want my money for their drugs that they're selling to me. They're not my actual friends. And it's not until you get real friends, like I have on screen here with me and many others too, that you realize the difference. You really do realize that difference. And it's great to be able to fight that battle and get on the better side of it. And if replacing it with comedy is the way to go, then let's laugh forever.
Yeah. Laugh, cry, do all the things. One thing my therapist did say for myself, because that's a huge issue for myself, is I feel like I have all these friends, but like none of them would be friends with me. And my therapist goes, you sometimes confuse kindness for friendship. You think someone's being kind to you, and you're automatically like, we're friends. That you're my friend. I give you cookie, you give me cookie, that kind of thing. And that has screwed me so many times, because that was when I was addicted to drugs. I was the one that, I never gone to jail or prison. So I had a bank account. A lot of my friends couldn't have bank accounts because of their criminal activity. So I would willingly do favors for them, or I would put my account into the negative to save them out of a hole. But would they ever do that to me? No, never. And feeling constantly like, oh, I owe them something. No, I never want to live like that. And knowing that y'all are my friends is like such I'm gonna cry.
It's okay. This is a place for it.
It's such a dream to have y'all as my friends. So
likewise, and appreciate that. All right. Well, Astrid, coping mechanisms.
I'll tell you, Miss Auntie, though, I love your laugh is very contagious in a good way. Okay, so keep laughing.
Yes.
It's called bird noises,
Either way, it makes my Thursday and Fridays that much more special.
Thank you. Yep, it's true.
Good.
No, for me, is a lot of it has been reading. I feel like diving into different worlds is one that I feel like I can escape from my mind when I need to escape from my world, and in those moments that I need a little break. Wrestling has always been a big one for me as well. I feel like it's one of those times that I can concentrate on something else other than what I'm thinking. Um, I am thankful that I never had any issues with drugs and alcohol like that. I grew up in a way that it first started because of religion, but it also kept going in a way that it's something that it never really caught my interest. So I'm glad I never had to deal with anything like that. So I applaud you guys for having to not only go through it, but like surpass it. Is something that's not easy. But I'm glad that at least I have in my with my family is always one of those ways that if I spend time with my loved one, is always a good way to forget about what's on my mind as well. And it distracts me for like what I'm feeling. And not only that, but having friends and family that validate me in the way I'm feeling. I feel like another coping mechanism in that type of way as well for me, because if I'm like thinking maybe I feel wrong for feeling this way or for thinking this way, but then I present to somebody that same situation and I'm like, this is how I reacted, this is what I did, and then they're able to tell me like I would have done the same thing. It makes me feel so much better in that aspect of it, and it helps me go through the situations the way I do. I'm glad that I have, not like I said, like not only my family or like my person, and then my friends that I can count on whenever I have anything like that in my mind, and they're like, no, you're fine for feeling this way, or you felt that way with somebody else, don't feel that way anymore because of something that discard you, and not in a good way, but we know we can get through it together. And it's always nice to have that kind of, that kind of person in your life that validates you and tells you that happened before, you don't have to feel that way anymore. And it's like, oh, they made you feel that way and it was wrong that they made you feel that way. So it's nice to always get that person like to tell you it was wrong, and we'll get over it together, we'll get through it. But yeah, I feel like my big ones are definitely that. And I feel like another thing is like like Bobby, I like having something else in the background. Like if I'm reading, I like having like my horror movies in the background, or even music or something moving in the background while I'm working on my stuff as well. If I'm doing clips for the shows, for example, or even like doing research for my interviews, that's another thing that I feel like it helps me distract from my mind. That's why I feel like I miss doing interviews. I haven't been able to do the research the way I really hope for. So hopefully I'll get back to it soon. But I think always finding some kind of activity to distract my mind is the way I feel is the best for me, at least.
Wonderful. And Melball.
I mean, I did kind of cover it already in the
True.
first bit when I rambled, but we can add on. I like Auntie, I do therapy. I do it bi-weekly, making sure that I'm kind of getting the most out of my hour with her. Let me tell you, waterworks start as soon as I go through the door, and they stop as soon as I leave. Gym time still a big thing for me. It's a very good way for me to start my day with a fresh head. Because the way I do my gym time is, I'm not that girl who has like lots of friends at the gym. I have a couple of really hard dudes who know who I am and will talk to me, but I've got a very distinct resting bitch face that I have on when I go to the gym, because I get myself into that beast mode by telling myself all these nasty things so I can get out and get frustrated and prove those things wrong. So it's kind of like a little bit of a vicious cycle. You kind of go into the gym absolutely hating life, and you come out still hating life, but hating it for a different reason, because now your butt hurts and now not your brain. Kind of switches things around on me there. It kind of like tricks me. Like Astrid, also watching wrestling has been a huge outlet for me, and especially finding new wrestling that literally no one is watching. And when I start talking about it, no one knows what I'm talking about. So it's a fun way, though, for me to start conversations with people, because people who also like wrestling will also find it interesting to hear about new wrestling. At least true wrestling fans like hearing about other wrestling. Some are a little scary. But watching other wrestling has given me an outlet for creativity as well. And now I'm, thinking about other things that I want to do, and creative shows that I want to try and get out there. So as a result, wrestling has really helped give me not only like a way to escape, but alternative ways, and led to other alternative ways for me to have a positive brain outlook. As I mentioned, the dancing, K-pop music has just become a latest obsession for me, that I love it. Again, it's positive, it's peppy. I can understand it as much as I can understand mumble rap. So it, may as well have some positive, happy beats, and the men are pretty good looking too. But doing the dances myself has given me a way to be active and have fun. And then the girls' K-pop dancing, it's very sassy while being very cute as well. So, fits into that demure kind of statement. Also just leaves me feeling good at the end of the day, because I can suddenly get my body and watch as I can start changing my body in more positive ways. And as a result, my back doesn't hurt so much. So in my 40s, that's a bonus.
Really,
The last thing, yeah, right, Bobby, right? Am I right? The last thing that I have been really fixated on that's really helped my brain, and kind of given me, I guess, kind of a 5-year plan, or just plans to keep going. I'm learning Japanese. Japanese is a very fascinatingly frustrating language to learn. But I'm learning to read, write, and speak it at the same time. So like, don't come up to me asking me phrases. I know how to say my name and nice to meet you, but I don't know the question that needs to be asked for me to give said answer, is what I'm saying. So like, this has been something fun, though, because I am going through the self-taught route. It has been something that takes an hour and a half of my day and turns it into something extremely productive, that when I see it and I show my friends it, they're like, hey, that's really cool. You can write in Japanese. I can barely write my name in English. So it makes me feel really, really accomplished and really good. But then also gives me the inspiration to travel and to kind of move around. So learning another language has kind of given me a purpose to kind of stick around, if that makes sense.
Makes a lot of sense, actually. And again, hello to Eric, who was joining us during that time, that joined us in the chat too. Says K-pop is great. Love BTS, Blackpink,
Oh,
and
yes.
EXO. And
Blackpink are those sassy ones, let me tell ya.
Music's a great shout too, because I mean, music's always been a great coping mechanism. I listen to a wide variety, but of course, obviously, I've made it pretty clear that heavy is my jam, typically. Yeah, and I even before this, I was like, you know what? Just before we came in to get going with this stream, I had to put a few songs on just to kind of get out of my own headspace, which I do like before almost every show I ever do, even if I'm just like pre-recording something on my own, just to get in the right headspace. I turn on music. And jokingly, people have always said, if you watch the show The Office, there's a scene where Jim and Dwight go to a sales call. And Jim goes, Dwight, do you still do that thing before you go into sales calls? And he said, yeah, just give me a few minutes. And he gets in the car by himself and he cranks up the heavy metal music and he starts like headbanging to the heavy metal music in the car. And then he pops out of the car and goes, okay, I'm ready. Let's go do this thing. And I can completely relate to this, even being a sales rep as my shoot job, because this is exactly what I do. I will pull up somewhere and I've got a heavy jam playing on the stereo and I will finish the song and psych myself up before I go in to introduce myself in a cold call to somebody for the very first time. So it's wonderful. Music is a best tool, in my opinion. And I used to also play it. I should probably get back into playing it too. I haven't picked up a bass guitar in so long, but I did get into painting again recently. As some of you have seen some of my paintings that I've put out there. I did a baby Grogu painting recently at a paint night with my wife. And then I painted Ghostface on my own at home here the one day, and some more paintings to come, I'm sure. It's another coping mechanism. Yeah, but as content creators, now I want to turn everything over to the content creation side. We often face criticisms from people online, everything like that, and this can be troublesome. How do we deal with this? And I want to start with you, Auntie. I know that you've definitely had one or two or several people that have had an opinion or two.
Just a couple. So that's the best part of being, because I am female presenting, but also being part of the queer community, being someone who also has pronouns on their profile, and any pronouns is applicable. I love a they, them. I love a she, her, he, him, whatever you want to call me. That's what I want to be. And I love exploring myself and my androgyny and my femininity and all the things that I love to be. I've learned that there are no rules. And in the rules of life, there are no rules. And those who live by the binary stick to those rules, which seems to piss a lot of trolls off. Me just simply existing and having joy in living in this body. And I live in a bigger body. I'm not a conventionally attractive person. I am not the standard skinny mini, blonde hair, blue-eyed kind of person. I'm just living in my own, and I'm happy about it, and I'm rejoiced for it. And I'm married and have a, that's everything that they think that doesn't have value. And listen, I've gone through bullying most of my life. I've been targeted by specific groups of people, and I didn't know that that was part of my depression and anxiety going into high school, where I didn't know what targeted harassment was. And now being online, it's like, oh, you thought that was bad in high school? Now it's even worse, where I used to do other kind of content, and I one time had someone send me to my home because they found my address, they doxed me, and they sent me a mold of their member to my home.
Oh.
With the request that I do things with it and send them a video. To which, A, why would I ever do that? B, that is the most, bravo to you to thinking that something like that would happen. Go ahead, manifest that. But that's sexual harassment, But you don't know who's sending it. You just have an email address and that's it. You don't know where it was sent from. You don't know how they got your information, and it's so violating. So when all these accounts, it's funny because at least they keep their branding consistent. It is boner plus whatever the flavor of the day. I've had accounts when I dressed up like Tony Storm, called me Tony Baloney, and just isolated pictures of my double chin and objectify me to the fat parts of my body, which is comical. But when my focus on my social media has always been promoting my interviews, my podcasts, I've had a different variation of a podcast for almost 10 years now. So while I'm promoting that, that's the only comments that are being there or being left. It almost feels like, oh, that's people see. So it is really easy to just get sucked into the vortex of trolls commenting with their effort to try to knock me down, to take the smile off my face, to take the enjoyment out of life. They want to see me unalive myself. And like, that scares me, that someone that I don't know where they live, where I don't know where they exist at, feels like they have the power to take the joy out of myself. And all I see when I look at myself, it is very difficult, because sometimes I just see all of the mistakes I've ever made. You know, how shitty of a human I've been. I'm just a shit friend. I'm just a, whatever. But I have to look at myself like, I don't know if you look at yourself at a certain age, but I feel like I came of age at the age of 8 because something really traumatic happened to me in gymnastics class. And that was like, that's so moving to me, to like know that someone would ever want to hurt an 8-year-old, little girl, that they would want to take advantage of an 8-year-old. And that's the kind of person that I want to be, is like, I want to protect that part of myself. I mean, yeah, I'm in my mid 30s. Okay, cool. Like, I'm a big kid. I can do this. But when I look in the mirror, I still see that 8-year-old girl, that person I want to protect. And I want to protect that innocence still inside myself. Even though I've kind of been through a really kind of crummy life, that life has handed me so many bad cards. And I've had so many people try to hurt me and peg me down. But I really have to concentrate on, it's not the voices that aren't there, but it's finding the community to silence those negative voices. And I think that being a part of the OLE family has done for me is know that, like, those people are liars. Those people saying all these mean things about me, they're liars. They're doing it to dull my sparkle. I'm just that 8-year-old with a sense of wonder. And sometimes I've had to put my account on private, or I've had to just literally walk away or step away from watching wrestling, because wrestling, unfortunately, has a lot of cesspool people involved in the community online. And it's because they're the loudest. But it's disconnecting from that. It's go do something else. I love to play The Sims. I love The Sims. I love my cozy games. And just getting offline, taking social media off my phone, and just playing a cozy game has been wonders for me, because the mean comments are never going to stop. I'm laughing because there's literally someone right now in my DMs, and I'm looking at my ex account, who is trying to belittle me because of a comment that I said about Nikki Bella and Artem this last week, or whatever the decision. And all they're trying to do is peg me down, but they don't know me. And if it weren't for the people around me being louder than those liars on the internet, I don't know what would happen. But it's surrounding myself with the people that have my best interest at heart, and knowing that those guys are liars is really what keeps me sane. But thanks for listening to me cry again.
No,
It's
no,
okay.
it's okay
okay.
to cry, and completely understand too. I mean, the comments, like, as content creators, yeah, we face that, and yeah, that was the question, is that, like, how do you handle when negativity comes in as content creators? And like, even as early as this morning, I run multiple channels, and I open up my phone, and every single time I see every comment coming into these channels. Open it up today because yesterday I'm advertising that we've got a matchup this weekend between Zoe and Michael Allen, Richard Clark, for the belt.
Mhm.
And some guy, because this never stops, has to come on there and go, "Oh, wrestling is so fake now that you have the girls beating up the guys." To which the thing is, I'll take the trolls all day. Bring it on, because I will mess back. I am not afraid to mess back with trolls. In fact, I in fact love trying to turn them around or whatever it is, or just silence them, because they think that they've got this power, and I will take it away from them as quickly as they thought they had it. And this guy makes this comment, so right away I was like, proud of you for enjoying all the realism in your life, or whatever is what I
Yeah.
wrote back. And he comes back, he goes, "At least I'm not fake." And I'm like, proud of you. Like, just that's the kind of thing I respond. It's like, great, move on, thanks, appreciate the view, by the way, too, you know,
Yeah,
because
thank
like
you.
the amount of time it took you to write this comment, you helped out because you gave us viewer duration during the entire video. So awesome, thanks, I appreciate you coming on.
Mhm.
Your jackass comment now is ignited a conversation with other people that are going
Yeah.
after you, and now all that algorithm's working in our favor. So, and look, oh, sorry, we double clicked there, but it's Papa Smokes joining us, saying, "Hey, people, love you guys." Right back at you, Papa Smokes. Thanks for stopping in here. But yes, Astrid, as a content creator, how have you coped with negativity from the outside world?
I'm glad I don't think I've really experienced it much, to be honest. If I do get some people here and there that if I feel like I've gotten it mostly if I post clips here and there and there's people commenting on it, especially on TikTok, if anything. But I'm the kind of person that just read it off and I'm like, whatever, and I just delete it and I don't even think about it because why? In my mind, why would I waste my time thinking about somebody else as a stranger that doesn't even know me whatsoever and doesn't even think of? You just saw a clip that was only a couple seconds from like an hour or so show, so it's like
Mhm.
you're only getting some type of context about it. So I think about it that way. But aside from that, I don't think I've really gotten like hate online when it comes to the things that I post about. There's always here and there is somebody that will come in, especially guys being a girl in the wrestling community, that you get some type of guy that thinks that they're better than you. They can mansplain things to you. Like I have been watching wrestling for 20 plus years at this point, but in my
Ooh.
mind, I'm just like, whatever. I either delete their reply and I block them or whatever I have to do. But I try to not have that back and forth in there because I just feel like I'm wasting my time on somebody that's it's not worth it. That's how I see it. And I'd rather spend my time talking to people that are more positive in the community that will uplift it and that would just be something different from what that person's doing. And
Mhm.
I just hate the fact that it happens often with any kind of female in the community, just because the guys think they know better than the girls do. Sometimes it's like it's not necessarily true in that way, and I feel like that's the only thing the guys think they can come out and say, "Oh, because you're a girl, you know less than I do," or like, or when you have those moments that it usually happens when the girl says that she likes wrestling, and then it's like, "Oh, so who wrestled in with this WrestleMania? Who wrestled in this pay-per-view?" I was like, that's how we're gonna go about like knowing the wrestling knowledge. And I find gotten comments before of like people like more in real life that they're surprised that I like wrestling, but once they get to know me, it's like, oh, that's pretty cool, and like now I'm being able to like tell my coworkers about it, and then she's like, oh, that's so cool that you have a podcast and you talk to wrestlers and you interview people, and it's nice to hear that type of people now that they see it so differently, they think of something cool and they want to know more about it rather than getting like, oh, it's fake and it's wrestling or whatever. But overall, I feel like I've gotten more of a positive experience in the community, which I'm grateful for in that aspect of it. So hopefully stays that way for the coming years. Um, but I feel like I've had a better experience than most people have in the community, which I'm grateful for at the same time. Because I know if it was like me years ago, I wouldn't have been able to deal with any kind of negative comments like that. And I feel like that
Mhm.
would have made me kind of dip my content and stop making content because one person made one comment. And it shouldn't be that way either. Because I feel like with that one person you have, there's other people that are complimenting you on the work you're doing. So might as well take the positives and take out the negatives. So that's how I think about it, and that's been my mindset through the whole thing. So I'm just gonna keep going with that one for the foreseeable future.
It's a great mindset to have. Eric saying that I love the track from On Ramble last week with The Awakening by On Lap. On Lap are amazing. Eric, go check them out on
Yes.
YouTube.
Yeah.
Wonderful band giving copyright free music as I go spill my drink all
I
over my
wish
phone.
y'all could see us in
Oh, no.
the backstage when
Yes.
those songs are going, because I'm just
Oh yeah. Rocking out.
Yeah.
Most of you haven't experienced the Papa Smokes rock out when those songs.
No. We all need to, though.
Papa Smokes rocks out hard when those are going. But Eric also saying all four of you are amazing. So I hate that people are bad to each of you. You deserve the best. Appreciate that, Eric, as well too. And it's just always going to happen. That's the sad part. You're always going to have people that feel like they have a need or a right to go on, and like has been said, take the joy away from others. And that's all we're trying to do, is have fun ourselves and spread a little joy at the same time. And if we've ever been able to do that for any of you out there, we appreciate being able to do that. And make sure, again, share like Eric's doing, share things, ask questions in the comments. But Mel, as a content creator, how have you coped with any negativity from the outside world?
You know what's funny? Online, like, I don't tend to get a lot. Usually most of my comments or whatever are pretty positive. The only place I've had negative comments was like on TikTok. And it was like the one person was from like a randomly named with like dot number in their freaking name, and their picture was some kind of Optimus Prime bullshit, and I was like, I don't care. And that was literally my response to his comment was, I don't care. I don't really deal with hate online because I don't get it. I probably do get it, but I just don't pay attention to it. The issues that I've actually ended up having from content creation have been with locals, like local wrestling community people. And it's not even the fans, because the fans seem to love me. I went to my first show in 2 months this past weekend, and like the amount of people lining up just to give me a hug was kind of scary, but also like very, welcoming. It made me feel good coming back. I actually tend to get hate from the people that I'm talking about on the streams if they don't like what I've said. And like, to me, I kind of look at the situation at my age of, well, I could give a fuck, but I said my truth. I said what I saw. If you don't like it, that's totally cool. You can improve upon it, but otherwise get bent. If someone's going to bully me or something, I'll just walk out of their match. I don't have to see it. I've already paid to be there. At my age, my sister told me this last year, and I've kind of taken it to heart and kind of tried to apply it to my life, which is, and I'm sorry that I'm swearing so much, but you only have a certain amount of fucks to give in your life. And I've spent a lot of my 20s and 30s wasting a lot of my little jar of fucks on things that I should have saved those fucks for.
Mhm.
So at my age now, and the way I'm looking at things, you want to hate, cool, that's within your right to do. It's also within my right to not give a fuck and to not choose to acknowledge your existence. So even though it is hard, and like when I hear something negative about myself or someone reports back to me, because I have spies everywhere and is like, oh, this person said this about you, I kind of always have that, oh, ow, squirt. And then I kind of go, oh, well, I don't really care about that person, and they're still here anyway. So I don't care. Yeah, I'm just doing my best to just kind of not give a shit about what haters say, because them hating is what gives them joy. If they want to take the joy from me, why give it to them in the process? So yeah, it's a little not the best way to look at it, but it keeps me happy.
Yeah. And I mean, it's completely understandable. Sometimes you have to just not give a fuck, as you said so politely. And Yeah, I mean, again, they're never gonna go away. That is their joy. They want you to be upset, and that is what they get joy out of. And when you don't give them upset back, it seems to get them to go away a lot of the time. I find because as soon as I'll say something goofy back to a troll online or something, or try to say something polite back to them, they disappear. They never come back for more kind of thing. They're gone. And that's the easiest way to handle it. I'm like, if you want to be negative about me, go ahead and be negative about me. There's nothing you can say that I haven't heard at some point in my life before. Like you can't do worse than my old man did all my life. So bring it. Like, sorry to tell you, but yeah. And I mean, that's just how it is. But
and
yeah,
I want to piggyback off that because it's like I've told myself even worse things about myself. You think the demons in my brain don't know the things that you're calling me a pig? You know who's also a pig? Miss Piggy, and she's a mother freaking icon.
Yep.
So it's one of those things that because of y'all, because I used to just let people speak to me like this, and then I'd be in my feelings. If it were any of y'all, let's go. You know what I mean? Like, I need to do that for myself. I need to, all right, get the brass knucks. Let's go. Out back. Let's go. You want to fight? Let's go.
Yeah.
I
You reminded me of something too.
Oh yeah, go ahead, Astrid.
I was watching Thunderbolts yesterday with my person too, and he wanted me to bring this up too because of one of the characters, to not give a lot of spoilers into it, but he has a moment that he's really filled with darkness, and I like how they portrayed that depression as darkness. But once the moment that the other people around him get involved and show him love, that darkness goes away. And that symbolism after we watched the movie is something that stayed with both of us afterwards. That when I told him I was doing the stream today, he said, "You better mention it in there somehow." So he must be happy that I'm talking about this right now, and I'll tell him later. But he's like, "Please don't forget to talk about Central. Please don't forget." So it just reminded me of what Auntie was saying there as well. Just like, wait, you kind of have that negativity within you, and it feels like that darkness in there. But like I was saying earlier too, once you have that people around you that contribute to it, that darkness really goes away. And I like seeing that portrayal in like a movie, like a Marvel movie that's humongous, and so many people are watching it. It's just amazing to watch, and I can relate so much to that.
Yeah,
I pretty sure that the release of that movie coming about May, which is Mental Health Awareness Month, is not a coincidence at all. They handle it with such handle it with such grace, absolute grace, like very well, unexpectedly well. So yeah, go check that movie out. It's wonderful. But yes, anything else anyone wants to touch on, or anything from the audience as well too, before we kind of wrap things up here today?
I don't know. I do want to say the best version of yourself is you. And I know that sounds like so like, oh, nobody's better. Like, I used to think that those were so corny. And especially in the media space, I've always tried to like emulate someone else, or like, oh, I see what people like Denise Salcedo is doing. Like, she's doing really cool stuff. I want to emulate that. I want to be that, but I'm never going to be her. That's not my brand of media content. I'm never going to be a Sean Ross Sapp. I'm never going to be a Dave Meltzer. I'm never going to be of those names. There's only one Auntie Collins. And if I were to rid the world of the auntie ship, what a terrible place that would be.
Yeah.
And that's what you have to keep saying is to yourself of, if you don't think that you are enough, you are enough, because you're here and you're existing. And all of us here, if you need some support, if you need someone to be in your corner, we got you. And that's the best part of the good side of the community, is that we're ready to roll our freaking sleeves up and ready to throw down, because we'll fight any battle with you, because a battle fought together is a battle worth fighting for. So
amazing.
Just gonna cry.
Yeah. I almost feel like that's where we should end the program, because that was so beautifully done.
I was gonna say, how do we go after that?
Yeah.
I really don't think it can be topped, but I will say, as you've seen down at the bottom of your screen, the 988 crisis helpline is another way that you can reach out as well. It's 988lifeline.org. Again, they will take your call. They will do text chat, anything that helps you out. If you're looking to reach out, there's always that. And yes, the motto of Thunderbolts, yeah, very much true, Ed. But yes, we also want to say you can reach out to any of us at our local establishment. We haven't had the ticker going the whole time because I thought that it was more important to have the crisis helpline there, but we're here for you. So across all social media platforms, this isn't a plea for following us for the purpose of following us. This is for the purpose of if you need someone to reach out to, please reach out to us. There's many ways to reach out to every single one of us. But we will get to, of course, letting everybody know what we do outside of this as well too. And we are going to start with Auntie Collins. Let people know where they can reach out to you.
Okay, well, you can cry with me on social media _queer auntie. I am usually live streaming Thursdays through Sundays, so you won't want to miss the opportunity to hang out with me. That literally was the case because I have a show here on Thursday called Honor Ramble, where we talk about Ring of Honor, or really it's just talking about a show that has been a big disappointment for us. So you won't want to miss that kind of rambling. And then Fridays, we are doing the Mother Tucking Post Show, where it is a break from wrestling, but it's kind of the other part of wrestling, which is drag. And so Jose on the air and I talk about RuPaul's Drag Race All-Star Season 10. Honestly, my crush made it to the semifinals. So I'm so excited there. And then on Sundays, you can find me over at Fightful Overbooked. Yes, Fightful Overbooked. The one where they put all of the shows that are way cooler than the main page. Let me just say that myself, because there are cool shows like Wrestling Made Me Cry, where we talk about all the things that made us feel emotional during the week in wrestling with my co-host Kylie over there. There are other shows as well, but I think my show is the best by far. So join me over there Sunday mornings. We could talk about all things wrestling. And I don't know, if you ever want to see weird, cute dog videos throughout the week, find me _queer auntie. I'm so glad, Melball, that you had your pup, because I didn't even mention the pups in my life. You know what? They're a part of mental health as well. So be sure to go follow me when I go live.
Perfect. Astrid, how about yourself?
You can find me every Tuesday with OLED Ed Fries and taking over talking about NXT. We do have a busy week next week with Battleground coming up in Tampa. So we do have a pre-show and a post-show. We have the besties for our post-show this week. So it'll be Bexy's X taking over collaboration this weekend for the post-show. So really fun week coming ahead. I know Bobby and I have recorded a couple episodes of Killer Cuts that are coming out too. So stay tuned for that. That's soon to be released. Other than that, Melville and I did a review of Queen of the Ring on my YouTube channel as well for Ladies Wrestling Showcase. So if you haven't seen it, go watch it and go watch the movie if you haven't as well. So please do. Other than that, you can find me my Twitter, Blue Sky is Astrid Pizarro, and my Instagram and Threads, Pizarro20. And like I said, everything else will be on my YouTube channel. Subscribe if you haven't.
Exactly. Get those subs up. Melball, how about yourself?
Yeah, if you're wanting to follow Melball, you can follow me on the X Twitter thing at Collins Melball. You can follow me on everything else: Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, Mastodon, Blue Sky, Melball. Collins, stay tuned to OLE here. You're going to be seeing some content coming out from this girl in June. So stay tuned to find out what's going on with that.
Perfect. Make sure to stay tuned for that. As for myself, Bobby Munson on the X, it's Real Bobby Munson, Instagram and Threads, Video Bros SK, Twitch, I'm Video Bro _Bobby Munson, and Blue Sky, it's Bobby Munson. As for what I got coming up, you can join me tomorrow with the Point of View crew, 11 a.m. Eastern time. We're talking about the week in sports. It should be interesting with what's been going on in the NHL recently, so tune in for that. And then, of course, back Thursday nights with Papa Smokes for Ring Respect Radio. This week, it's trivia night again. So again, the floor is open for trivia. Come join us to do some trivia this Thursday night, 9:05 p.m. Eastern time on the channel. And of course, every Saturday afternoon, Prairie Pro Wrestling. Come check out a new match with myself and Papa Smokes on commentary. And as I said, it just dropped today at 1 o'clock Saskatchewan time, 3 o'clock Eastern. It was Michael Allen Richard Clark defending the Prairie Pro Wrestling Championship against the intangible Zoe Seger. So go check that out on our channel, available today. But that's going to be it for all of us here. We thank you all for being part of this journey with us. Thank you very much for all the love and support that you show. And we're going to send it off with the weekly calendar so you know what streams are coming up for the rest of the week. Bye, everybody.
Never gonna stop. Never gonna gonna change, never gonna do the things you say. I run my own way to get there. Fools are calling and I don't seem to care. In the air, no more crowd, just the opposite kind of few clouds. So tell me this time is coming for the sake of all your lies.